It is Luke Skywalker Friday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. Let's begin with, let's see, I'll tap button 14 and take us over to the Song of Mahamudra Shastra, composed by Tilopa, translated by Chang, adapted and amplified by yours truly. Please chant with me the 24th verse. The supreme understanding viscerally transcends all entanglements of this and that. The supreme action of love-centered spontaneity embraces great resourcefulness without attachment. The supreme accomplishment is to master our inherent Buddha nature without clinging. So what I'd like to do next is to prepare for our meditation after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. So we turn our attention now to the latest iteration of easy meditation. Please chant with me. Whatever comes, may all beings let it come. Whatever stays, may all beings let it stay. Whatever goes, may all beings let it go. One moment. Welcome to the first quarter of Mindful Crease Counting Meditation. We're going to start with Bengali crease counting. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. When we multiply this by 8 sets, we wind up with 96 inhalations. We could count these 8 sets on our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. But how do we keep track of the quarters? We keep track of our first of 4 quarters by resting the great knuckle at the base of the right little finger upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so gently invites our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. Let us take a moment to demystify enlightenment. Since the advent of the Neolithic Revolution, the majority of societies have conditioned the majority of individuals to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. And those who are elitist are happy to fib about enlightenment, whereas the true subversives have become flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. and we shall explore what enlightenment is through the lens of egalitarianism. What if enlightenment was nothing more than mastery of the Buddha's Eightfold Path? But what do we mean by mastery? No infant is born knowing how to use the toilet, how to brush their teeth, how to tie their shoes, or how to ride a bicycle. And yet, thanks to effort and training and neuroplasticity, virtually every child is able to perform those things by the time they are ready to enter first grade. In fact, they perform them to such a degree of mastery that they perform them spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. It's the same way for the Eightfold Path of the Buddha. One of the wild things is that if we simply make the essence of our practice, the sevenfolds mindfulness and the eightfolds meditation, then the remaining six folds take care of themselves. Let us view mindfulness through the lens of neuroscience. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we are wired to automatically access the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way. To help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, but notice what? Notice mind's antics of perception. You know, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, such as emoting, intending, reasoning, recalling, and imagining. Now, this seems really hard. So, is there a hack? Yes, there is. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we interrupt the habit of our cerebral cortex to compete with our sympathetic nervous system and instead lay the groundwork for these two to actually cooperate. But what are we to do with that which we notice? Every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we physically relax and mentally release to the degree that what we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less tantalizing, less permanent, and even less defining. So together as a team, let us practice right now. Oh, I forgot to mention something. So, as we mentioned, during our exhalation, what we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less permanent. That is a reference to the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, the deep familiarization with the literal impermanence that supports letting go, which is, of course, fueled by our practice of mindfulness and meditation. Good morning. Together, let's chant a passage from the Tilopas song of Mahamudra. At first a yogi feels like the mind is tumbling like a waterfall. In mid-course mind could feel like the Ganges flowing slow and gentle. In the end mind could feel like a vast ocean, where the lights of shine like awareness, and mother-like voidness merge into one. So what I'd like to do is welcome you to the second quarter of this morning's practice. We could keep track of our second quarter by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce at the crown region of our head. What is the essence of mindfulness? As we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system helps us to effortlessly, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics. What is the essence of meditation? As we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system helps us so relax and so release, so physically relax and so mentally release, that we are able to let go of, first, that which we noticed during our previous inhalation. Second, we're able to let go of all those things we noticed, some we desire and some we dread. Third, we're able to let go of our subtle resistance to the real or potential absence of what we desire, as well as let go of our resistance to the real or potential presence of what we dread. Now, letting go of them does not mean they cease to exist. It simply means they cease to control our choices and our utterances and our deeds to the same degree. So come, let us practice together now as a team. Let's chant the first verse of Tilopa's Song of the Mahamudra. The Mahamudra was translated as a green seal. Oops, one moment, please bear with me. This is an editing opportunity. Okay, let's try this again. The great seal of the Mahamudra's awareness and release is beyond all words and symbols. But for you, Naropa, earnest and loyal, must this be said. So Naropa was the student of Tilopa. And what is being inferred here is devotion is great, but it's no substitute for wisdom. And so the remaining 24 verses of the song fill in the gaps in the mind of his earnest yet dim-witted student. We come now to the third quarter of this early morning's group practice. We could keep track of the third quarter by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. We'll start with a concise review of mindfulness. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system is wired to help us to notice, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, mind's antics. Now let's take a deeper dive into the neuroscience of meditation. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we access our parasympathetic nervous system divided between the lower third and the upper third of our spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. The same mental release that causes what we noticed during our previous inhalation to figuratively feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Now, any good English teacher will remind us that a synonym is only as powerful as it is relatable. So we have to ask the question, what? What is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? The answer is quite simple. How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand? One of the great ironies is that the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, the deep familiarization with the figurative emptiness that supports our mental release, is the effortless byproduct of simply playing with the seventh fold's mindfulness, and the Eightfolds meditation. So together as a team, let us practice right now. And allow me to remind you that the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Let's lark over to the to Tilupa's Song of Mahamudra and chant the second verse. The void needs no reliance, the great seal of Mahamudra's awareness and release resonant, without making an effort but remaining natural. One could break the yoke of oppression that's gaining liberation. Thank you for your patience. The void is not need to rely upon any preliminary practices. The great seal of Mahamudra's awareness and release rests on not. You see, as we mentioned previously, since the Neolithic Revolution, religious patriarchy has conditioned folks to be inured to elitism. But the path of the Buddha replaces elitism with egalitarianism. And the highest practice does not require years of blessings or preparations. It can be practiced immediately by anyone, anywhere, anytime. Without making an effort but remaining natural, one could break the yoke of oppression that's gaining liberation. So I'm going to tap button 9, bring us back to the primary text. So we've come to our final quarter of this early morning's practice. To keep track of this final quarter, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce at the heart region of our chest. Those who are stuck, those who are prisoners of rigidity and controlling tendencies are often taught to actively concentrate and actively analyze. The only neural pathways that facilitate those behaviors are those found in the specific neural pathways, or the discrete neural pathways, such as the medial prefrontal cortex or the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. I should say, such as those found within the medial and dorsolateral prefrontal cortices. Now, the prefrontal cortex is really cool, but it's really fragile and it's easily overwhelmed. When we overwork this region of our brain, it triggers our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression, which are the opposite goals most people desire for meditation. So here's the cool thing. When we practice mindfulness, by silently and mentally reciting the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation. And when we practice meditation, by silently and mentally reciting the one syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we, number one, calm the anxiety and aggression of our amygdala. Number two, we calm the tyranny or the control that anxiety and aggression wield over our choices, utterances, and deeds. Third, we stimulate the anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, which in turn is the root of compassion and love. This is exactly why the late Tulku Thondup insisted that the highest love was the spontaneous and uncontrived fringe benefit of awareness and release. This is important because 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path is comprised of kindness. Kind intention, kind communication, kind conduct, and commerce that is as cooperative as it is, you guessed it, kind. All this flowing from mindfulness and meditation. So together as a team, let us practice together right now. You've taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 or so hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.